of the conservative pundits are on board with. Like, I saw Ben Shapiro was criticizing tariffs, and he's more of a traditional conservative. He just cares if line go up, and he has a friend who's in the diamond business who's a little upset because we can't we can't mine diamonds here. We don't have diamond mines. Like, you got to get those from Africa. And his friend's like, I want to make money off my shady diamond business, buddy.
Not just shady. I'm actually shocked at Emma that she would only call it shady. It's not just shady. Maybe she goes a little further. Those eyes are doing something right now. Maybe she goes a little further and talks about it. But the Congo is a real discussion that needs to be had about what's going on in the Congo, the kind of slave labor that's happening in the Congo and everything. And then you'll hear people say like, "Oh, they're killing." What they'll do is they'll talk about the Congo in a way of like, because they want to go in there and they always want to control it, so they'll give this narrative of like Christians being ended in the Congo, but it's really just to have like military bases, like more military forces down there or whatever, and make it seem like, oh, we're helping you. Anyway, this is Emma Vigeland, who is going to destroy Benny Johnson. MAGA, who is, look, when it comes to the tariffs, you should do your research and figure out what's going on. But don't gaslight people and say immediately, like, this is going to be the most perfect thing just because you said, Provide a real conversation. But Emma Vigeland is going to obliterate, annihilate, destroy. Emma Vigeland is going to eviscerate Benny Johnson. Emma Vigeland is not going to hold back on Benny Johnson. She is going to dismantle Benny Johnson. Let's go ahead and get into it.
That maybe employs kids in the...
Okay, I will give a full apology right now. She did go into it. Okay. I need to stop doing that, right? Okay.
Poorest countries in the world. But I feel like Janine Pirro was saying, who cares about your 401k?
Right. We played that Friday.
So she's really a true Kool-Aid drinker, and I guess Benny Johnson is putting himself up as one of the more shameless people here now too.
Losing money costs you nothing. This is just the reality of life. Like, were you young and dumb? How much money did you lose? Everyone loses money. Everyone loses money. It costs you nothing. In fact, it builds quite a bit of character. In fact, you learn a lot of lessons actually by losing money.
Wait, hold on.
Losing your...
I just have to fact check for a sec.
Isn't that the main thing it does? Does it cost you something when you lose it?
Right. Losing money kind of definitionally does cost you.
You can actually put a dollar figure on it.
But maybe he's thinking about our spiritual well-being. The stuff that conservatives are always interested in.
Yeah, sure. I'm sure that's what plagiarist Benny Johnson's thinking about.
Quite a bit of character. In fact, you learn a lot of lessons actually by losing money.
Oh.
Losing your character costs you everything. Losing your country costs you everything. There are things you can't get back. The government can print more money, and it will. Sadly, that's just the reality.
Wait, why sadly?
Now hold on, that is the reality, and the reason why it's sadly is because it's like they lied to us. Look, okay, I don't know what the name of what I am is anymore. That's why I just say Christian, progressive Christian, right? But not in the way that people would think. Progressing to the truth to get closer to God. Progressive princess Christian, right? Because I've definitely left this MAGA stuff behind. And not because, and by the way, I was never this bad, right? To say to your audience, losing money costs you nothing. This is the kind of jargon that I remember when the economy started with the inflation and all of that, under Biden, Whoopi Goldberg told us, hey, you don't need all that stuff, basically. And you're just whining and complaining, go back to work. And the MAGA was like, oh, I can't believe the left is talking to us like this. Da, 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 da. And I was saying it too. And even still, I was like when they were saying, oh, the economy's fine, look at Wall Street, right? And it's like, I remember saying stocks don't matter. People, it's hard for them to put food on their table. I don't care what the stocks say. Most Americans probably don't even have money in stocks, right? Like, speak to me in reality. But now to sit there and say this, like this is normal, like this is okay. When it comes to the printing money, I think that this whole talk about we need to get the deficit down, like screw it, okay? Y'all ain't paying back nothing. Y'all just print until you guys destroy the dollar and push us into the digitized money, all right? But let's go ahead and listen to Ben continue to gaslight his audience. Benny, And by the way, please don't forget to hit the like. Please subscribe to the channel, guys. I'm begging for subscriptions. Thank you so much. Hit the like button and the notification bell. Thank you, though, to everybody who's watching. I see y'all watching.
If you could just do that.
It's just that there's a boom and a bust every 10 years, and it's been that way since the invention of modern markets in the 1600s. The Dutch crash of 1649. You ever heard of it? It's just the way that it works. It's the way that like monetary policy has always worked. There's going to be ups and downs, especially as things.
You mean capitalism? I say monetary policy, you moron.
Especially as the table gets reset.
Hey, why is he whispering?
He's trying to calm everybody down.
Monetary policy has always worked.
The mic closer.
There's going to be ups and downs, especially as the table gets reset. If you lose the character of your country, if your town gets hollowed out, give me that photo of that town, man. Give me the photo of that.
Why is he so somber?
The thing is like, so if your town gets hollowed out, like the thing that hollows it out is losing money.
No, it's migrants.
No, I mean, that's one hypothesis. My understanding of it is, say, investment all of a sudden goes down in places like the Rust Belt, for instance. I don't think it was like a spiritual malaise. I think it was money was leaving there.
This is a character building exercise for the country. That's no pain, no gain.
Just got to grind harder.
Yep, you got a hole in that 401k, just rub some dirt in it.
Get a infusion of cash from Russia like this guy did.
If your town gets hollowed out and your entire neighborhood gets addicted to opioids and your steel mill shuts down and your farmers can't grow crops and there's no more cattle ranchers, there's no more cowboys.
We just had
it's a mindset problem.
There's no more fishers.
Yeah.
Fishermen.
There's no more workers. And we're completely and totally dependent upon slave labor peasants across Asia to make every good and service.
Conservatives are like, I like that.
Pharmaceutical.
Yeah, what do you want to go make the shoes?
Yeah. Okay. No, but so now we have to become the slave laborers. We have benefited from free trade and global capitalism in such incredible ways. The fact that, like, yes, there are kids making your shoes for little to no money in these sweatshops, in these horrible conditions. Yes, that benefits us, for we don't have to pay as much for the goods that we want. And now he's basically saying, well, we got to bring that here. Okay, I agree corporations should be paying living wages, but that's not what's happening.
Then she has to tell me what's happening too, though, because now I'm going to start coming at Emma. Look, let's be real. In theory, tariffs could work. In theory, what could happen is, right, and what was supposed to happen was supposed to be that he was supposed to place the tariffs and then get rid of the income tax. When people don't have to pay federal income tax, your check is so much different. So even if now the corporation may not charge the extra 30% that they are going to have to pay, with the blockade. It's like a trade war kind of thing. But they will charge like a little bit more. But they would offset it would offset the pain for the consumer if, where's the plan for the income tax being slashed or something, or the steps? That's what I'm not hearing, and that's where I have a problem, because I'm not just going to say, oh, tariffs are bad because Trump's doing it. No, this is what we're not going to do too. We can't do it like that, where, like, yeah, I told y'all, like, I'm not MAGA. I'm not. I will not pick up those. I love my country. I want the best for my country. Therefore, I need the other part of this, right? But I'm not just going to say, oh, tariffs are bad just because it's Trump. No, we did tariffs before. Apparently, this is how this country was founded. All right, so that's the reality of it. And so both sides do have this thing but then you do have Benny who's like, oh, it's just going to be okay. You're not asking for the income tax thing. That part is why am I saying it? That part's your job, Benny. You have to speak up for your audience, right? And I'm not saying, he doesn't listen. I'm not here to tell anybody how to do their show. But what I'm saying is, where are the people who's saying, okay, where's the next step for the income tax? What's going to happen with that? Because that was part of the promise. And I'm not hearing anything about that. Furthermore, this thing has changed into going after China. So, I think that there's more nefarious reasons why this is happening. Like I said, in theory, this could work. But when you have a lot of players in the game, and this is why I did not vote, because when I realized how the country really is ran and how people could just buy their way in, and I don't mean about like, remove money from politics. I'm not one of those, man. I'm not virtuous, okay, for no reason, okay? But once I realized in this administration what kind of money was going into it, I was like, whoa, I don't want any parts of that, right? And somebody will be like, well, then you can't complain. It's not complaining. I'm telling people what's going on. No, because I'm always going to find a way, by the way. Praise the Lord. I'm always going to find a way. But I think that the people should be aware of what's going on so that they can find a way too. Benny, ask your people. Make an episode. Where is the income tax slashing? What's going on with that?